Hey guys, we are not in the office today. We are actually in my backyard, and Eric and I decided to shoot a video from here on this gorgeous day. The topic that we spent some time thinking through, what do we specialize in our office? And that is concussions. So before you scroll away from this and don't want to hear, oh, I know what a concussion is, you do not. Most people think concussion means I've been knocked out, I've been seeing stars. What's another example? In the office all the time I said, I have never had a concussion.
Usually they talk about being like completely knocked out.
Okay.
And we would know that that's not a concussion. That's actually more of a traumatic brain injury.
Correct. Which you should go to Craig Hospital if you're here, or the emergency room if you think you had a traumatic brain injury, and to check for bleeding. Most of NFL players that I worked on had regular, if not daily, mild concussions. What does this look at? Linemen getting popped to the chin regularly, knocked on the head. They realized this once I trained them what a concussion is and what it's not. The athletic trainers did not know this. They did tests. They have their standardized tests, or neurology has their standardized tests. They tell me, John, they don't know when I have a concussion or not. I could hide it and keep playing on the field. Where very well after, they were getting the stereotypical symptoms. It might come in a day later, that night. It might be inability to sleep, nausea, dizziness, memory issues, muscle recruitment issues, speech issues where they're like, I can't, my words, stuttering issues. It ranges all over the place. Those would be dependent on the angle the force went through. They don't have a test for every vector and every angle they're injured in. They have generic tests where they look for pupil dilation and other things. And even Eric, as a paramedic, you would check these things on a scene or after a car wreck. And many times there was probably concussions that you didn't even know at the time were mild concussions.
Very rarely do you see any of those very large signs like pupil differences. That's like you're probably unconscious.
Yep.
If you have a pupil dilation difference, you're unconscious for sure, and your brain stem is swelling. That's not a normal sign for a small hit.
And you get in the ambulance and go to the hospital. If you have those signs
100%.
And you can't stop vomiting, we need to check for a brain bleed. So noted, if you have any of those things, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the small things that stack upon each other and turn into large things, or it becomes pain in your body or emotional dysregulation.
So what are some examples of like small hits that we've found in the office that people don't even realize that they've had a head injury? They come to us with symptoms, and then we start quizzing them about the past few weeks, and they'll give examples of hitting their head on the microwave door, right? I know we've had that one.
Cabinets. Recently, I hit my head on my sauna door, and I knew I gave myself a concussion, a mild concussion on that. Golf carts bumping the back of their head.
Yep.
We've had that one come in. Oh, dental work. Sometimes that creates a concussion-like symptom from the drilling. We've had people get migraines, dizziness, nausea after major dental work.
I know we've had a lot of kids that have been in sports. They don't have like a typical hit on the head, but maybe they've been hit in the nose or the teeth, or really anywhere in their body. They fell. Snowboarders, when they fall on their tailbones.
Huge one. Ends up exiting in the head, where they don't realize after, where they're getting all the typical dizziness, headaches, nausea like reactions, and they can't relate to it. They're like, why? I don't know what's going on. I didn't do anything. It's with our questioning that we end up finding these things. Now that I even think of it, you're a perfect example of when you first came into the office of what... Eric,
True.
Let's go. I want to show them what I did to you when... My memory just clicked on this. So Eric comes into the office. I don't even remember on your notes how much you talked about this. You probably put it in there, but I go to you. Your sister I sent you, and you're thinking, guy's going to help me balance. He's a chiropractor.
Yeah, so I had a boating accident 20 something years ago. And when I came to John, it was 15-ish years after my accident. And I came in because I thought my body was out of balance because of having a prosthetic leg and having other injuries. But the first thing that John said to me was, where did the boat hit you in the head?
Right back here. I saw a dent in his head. I had you feel it. I remember I put my hand, you're like, wait, there is a dent in my head back there.
Yeah. And now they never scanned my head because at the time of the accident, I was actually fully conscious all the way to the hospital. They questioned me for concussion symptoms. I didn't show any at the time, probably because adrenaline was pumping through my body. But yeah, when John pointed out and said, feel the back of your head, I could tell that it was caved in. And then that became the focus of our sessions, was not really my out of balance part of my body because of my prosthetic, but the focus was on the symptoms of head injuries that I really never knew that I had.
By this time, we were doing a little bit of PEMF and electrical therapy. It was me a lot of hands-on that I helped you with the physical impact.
Yeah.
Then what you were part of my journey and transition, what I began to discover is you can get what I define as an emotional concussion. What sets that up is typically early on head injuries. That's why we ask that on every new patient. And almost, I don't think we failed to get one where someone's like, oh yeah, my mom said she dropped me out of the crib. It's stuff they might not even remember, or a big fall to the mouth. They have something, or birth injury coming out. We almost always have an injury to the brain. And then these people have high levels of anxiety, a lot of emotional, their capacity's down. So what would be handled normally to me compared to you. What would set you off could be an argument with your wife, a screaming child, loud noises. Mm-hmm. And it gives you the same symptoms as a physical concussion.
Yeah. So when we first started working on me, I noticed a giant difference in the way that I felt after John cleared my physical concussion. And then we noticed after that, though, if I would have a stressful day or have an argument, have something intense go on in my life, I felt the same symptoms of brain fog, emotional instability, irritability, a little bit of sensitivity to light, and like a background headache. We started noticing that those symptoms would come back after a stressful incident. And so then we started working from the aspect of thinking about an emotional concussion happening.
And I'll go in real quick explaining how this would happen. So if a boat hit the back of his head, the force is going to exit out the front. Well, one of the main areas of concussion injuries is the vagus nerve that sits here and back up in here. That's the emotional regulation nerve. That's what allows our body to go into rest and digest and relax. And so that capacity in Eric went down, 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 down. So the little stuff began to set him off. The key in the office when you really dug into this is when we got into very specific currents. We were able to dial in and find out that the vagus nerve, or different parts and lobes of the brain, we could dial in to his deep limbic system. We could go to the hypothalamus, and you're like, whoa, so much better. And we could set up programs for him to get regulation of his emotional system, so his tolerance grew back up to be able to handle emotional events. And that was key to healing you and getting you more to finding God, to changing things in your life. If we never did that, you would have never felt you had the ability to go there.
Yeah, it was like I had a return of depression, irritability, emotional instability, insomnia. All of those things would get like triggered by highly stressful events. And then as we worked with the specific frequency work that we do, and we developed programs to specifically target areas of my brain that were damaged, then my capacity for those things got higher and higher all the time. And then I was able to handle things that I wasn't able to handle before. So although I had been, you said the vagus nerve is kind of easily triggered and easily like re-damaged, if you would say. Over time, we were able to get me to where that was no longer true.
Now in the office, we combine those two, and we're going to start a session. Our secret sauce, like I say, is what differentiates my brain and how to figure this out was the specific frequencies that we have and machines that we have. And then we stacked my hands-on work or a combo. Many times I need my hands, Eric's hands, Caitlin's hands. We might have 6 hands on one person to unwind it. And that is the difference where someone has seen concussion specialists and gotten 0 results. It's the feeling the vectors of the force and taking that off internally, the pressures off of the brain so the dura can be released. If you want another kind of slight demonstration of that and me just going all emotional, there's another video on there with me unwinding the cranium emotionally. That's a very gentle version. That's what she needed. Sometimes I have to put more pressure. Sometimes I have to do different things, but my gift is feeling and unwinding things that other people aren't looking at. So how I want to wrap this up is be aware if you get those emotional concussions, but even more aware when you bump your head, don't just disregard it. Like track later, like, man, my brain was off 2, 3, 4 days later. Go get it worked on. The long-term results of this is early onset dementia, memory problems, motor problems. If you keep inflammation in the brain, you're setting yourself up for neural diseases, not alone just emotional regulation. So our thing to use, be aware of these and take them seriously. And we're here to help you.